Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome at last to the preliminary match of OIV UI 2021. And our competition for today is English debate competition. My name is Marfarza Pasha from tourism class of 2020, and I will be your host and moderator throughout the competition. Now, let's welcome the players who will be participating in the preliminary match. And our first contingent, who will also be the one to represent the government side, is Laili Nazwa Muslim, Emeline Aurelia Lauren, and Rizka Al-Zahra from HM Fokum. On to our second contingent, who will be representing the opposition side, is Nadira Heidi, Shani, Gania Alvinda Kalenisa, and Alia Auradiva from Himta. Let's give them a round of applause using the stickers. Oh yeah, and also we are joined by Mr. Dedi Sandro Lubis from the Ministry of Public Works and Housing as the Chief Adjudicator. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Sandro.
Thank you to the committee. Good luck for all participants.
Okay. Now, without further ado, let's check out the motion that is used in today's preliminary match. The motion reads scientific journal pages that are not accessible to the general public would limit the spread of knowledge and creativity. And with that, let's see what the sides have to say on the matter, starting with the Prime Minister of the government side. The stage is yours.
All right, thank you so much, moderator. Good afternoon, honorable adjudicator, fellow committee, and fellow debaters. My full name is Laili Nazwa Muslim, and I am the first speaker, also known as the Prime Minister of the government team, regarding the motion scientific journal pages that are not accessible to the general public would limit the spread of knowledge and creativity. First of all, I would like to say some of the definitions that are mentioned in the title and the motion, which are scientific. According to Oxford English Dictionary, is an adjective which means based on or characterized by the methods and principles of science. And then we have journal. According to the University of Victoria, journal is scholarly publication containing articles written by researchers, professors, and other experts, which focus on a specific discipline or field of study. And then we have scientific journal, which is the combination of scientific and journal. According to American Psychological Association, scientific journals represent the most vital, which means for disseminating research findings and are usually specialized for different academic disciplines. Oftentimes, researchers challenge common assumptions and or research data presented in the published scientific literature in order to gain a clear understanding of the facts and findings. Albert Einstein once said, "Wisdom is not a product of schooling, but of the lifelong attempt to acquire it, and that is why we stand by this motion." You see, we firmly believe in this motion because we believe that the spread of creativity and knowledge will be limited if there are limitations in scientific journals in general. For example, a prominent researcher in India has said, given such unequal access, Indian scientists inevitably struggle to perform world-class science. The fact is that equitable access to current scientific information is essential if India is to take its rightful place in the world. Based on the statement above, we can conclude that a lot of struggles come along with the limited access of scientific journals. Most scientific journals can be accessed through the internet, and the internet itself can reach almost everyone all around the globe. This means that if a scientific journal about, for example, let's say neuroscience, is to be created by an American woman and a guy from, let's say, Australia, is looking for extra materials for his own paper regarding neuroscience, he can easily look at what the American woman has posted onto the scientific journal. Since the scientific journals themselves don't have any limited access, are also very cost-friendly with a stable internet access that can be accessed in our home and almost everywhere. You can see thousands of journals without having to buy one physical book from the store and then finding out that the book doesn't have the information that we need, which means we have to go back to the store to find another book, that has the information that we want. This also represent to the journals that are locked or not or have limits. The University of California, back in February of 2019, has dropped nearly 11 million US dollars to Elsevier.
Sorry, DOI.
I'm sorry, but can I decline?
Okay.
Thank you. As I said before, the University of California has dropped nearly 11 million US dollar into Elsevier, which is the world's largest publisher of academic journals, because they think that scientific journals that are locked or like have limits equals to monopolization of the market of the scientific journals. And that is all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for the speech, Prime Minister. And now let's see the opposing views from the leader of opposition. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Nadira Heidi as a first speaker of opposite team. Well, the affirmative team trying to say that that was have a cost friendly if we are not access the scientific journal to public. But in the other side, we all know that in Indonesia, just for example, in Indonesia, scientific journal is contains for a law, like for example, contrary to the 1945 Constitution Article 28F, which confirmed that everyone has the right to communicate and obtain information to develop their personal and social environment, and has the right to seek, obtain, process, store, process, and convey information using all available channels. And then you always give the example such as India, California, but you didn't even have your own argument. You always talk to us about the fact of a scientific journal not being accessed to a public, but you didn't even give your argument. But for your information, guys, journal is not a public consumption, such as, like here we are talking about scientific journal that was not public consumption. Because based of Article 4 of Law number 28 of 2014, concerning that copyright is an executive right consisting of moral right, and which moral right cannot be transferred as long as the creator is still alive. But the exercise of this right can be transferred by will of other reasons in accordance with the provision of law regulation after the authors die. In the event of the transfer at the exercise of moral right, the recipient may waive of a reviews and exercise of his right on a condition that were refusal on exercise at the right in the start in writing. And also beside that, there are another article that have a copyright law that sound like this: any person who's intentionally and without right violates the economy's right, as referred in article number 25, paragraph 2, letter A, letter B, letter C, and or letter D, commercial use, shall be sentenced to a maximum imprisonment of 4 years or maximum be fined at 1 billion rupiah. And also we have a Indonesian proverb that called like this: sekali mendayung, 2-3 pulau terlampaui, which is the first thing that we can know. We can know that if our motion today, scientific journal page that are not accessible to the general public, would limit the spread of knowledge and creative. Again and again, I would like to tell you guys, if we can get a lot of information from the another platform that have a public access. You're trying to say that we can find another book and then we go to the bookstore, but meanwhile, if we are already arrived to home, we didn't even get the information that we want. We have to go back again to the bookstore. But in the other side, if you want to go to the bookstore, at least you already know what kind of book that you want to buy. Every book have their own description in the back of the book, so I don't know, it doesn't make sense if you go to the bookstore, but meanwhile when you are have a books meanwhile when you are already buy the book, but you didn't get the information. It seems like, why are you guys trying to find a book? But in the other side, if we are go to the bookstore, in the back of the book we already know, like, there is a lot of description about what kind of book that is, what kind of book that was talking about. Again and again, I would like to tell you guys here the reason why we didn't believe that scientific journal page that are not accessible to the general public would limit the spread of knowledge and creative, because of we can get a lot of information from the another platform that have a public access. And like what am I trying to say to you before, every scientific journal has a crucial, important, and useful information. That's all from me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for the speech from opposition leader. And now, let's see the affirmative view from the Deputy Prime Minister. The time is yours.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Emmeline, and I represent the government side as the Deputy Prime Minister. Allow me to continue what has to be continued. To answer what the opposition side, it has this synopsis. It doesn't describe everything in the book, and there's still the missing data or info if you're just looking at the synopsis of the back of the book. And even if we know, it's still not efficient. Okay, let me continue my speech. As the Prime Minister mentioned before, creativity and knowledge will be limited if there are limitations in scientific journals, because again, scientific journals are a highly credible option and it might help people who need it a lot. As also, if the scientific journal is open to public, people could easily look for more trusted source, as they have been researched by scientists over and over, and they also offers evidence and case studies, so that public who uses it can have a proof to hold to. This is what I meant by highly credible. Moreover, if we go with the scientific journals being limited, no one knows what the scientists are doing behind too. What the scientists are using the scientific journals, and in that case, we don't know what the scientists have done to the environment, even to the world, and as public who lives in the world, we must know what is going on. And that is what I meant by limiting general public's knowledge. And lastly, we do not agree that scientific journal pages being limited, because it provides great reading with a wealth of knowledge, and that is what causing the limit of knowledge. It will add a lot more public's research option if it's open to public. Okay, that's.
Okay, thank you for the speech from the Deputy of Prime Minister. Next is the opposing views from the Deputy of Opposing. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the time that given. As the second speaker of the opposite team, I want to give my rebuttal for the second opinion of affirmative team. The affirmative team believe that the creativity will be limited if the scientific journal has highly credible option, and no one knows if we private the scientific journal, it will We don't know what's the scientific date behind it to the environment. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, from my point of view, in internet server that provide anything, we still can looking for knowledge and information. Not only from people's scientific journal, we can learn from anywhere and anytime. Some journal must contain confidential information like personal data information that should not be disseminated and didn't mean to be seen in public. People still can get information from many things, such as book, teacher, internet, and many more. People's scientific journal isn't the only way to get information and knowledge, also not the only way to gain creativity. Okay, we still can reaching out knowledge from book to get more valid information. Professor of Political Science from Northwestern University, Chicago, United States, Jeffrey Winters, claimed to still find plagiarism in the writing of academic essays of Indonesian students. It means people's awareness of copyright is still low. To avoid plagiarism, because they make their own sentence and put all efforts in that journal. So, to make it private is one way to appreciate the writer, unless there are the right copyright to the writer. But still, even the journal is private doesn't mean it will limit the learning and people's creativeness. As the second speaker of the affirmative team said, scientific journal is highly credible option. It means it was such as incredible things that can be accessed easily. What I'm trying to say is we as the opposite team disagree that scientific journal that wasn't accessible would limit the spread of knowledge and creativeness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your opinion, Deputy Opposition Leader. And now, let's see the affirmative view from the government whip. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you. As a speaker 3, I will give statement based on speaker 1 and 2. We firmly believe that spirit of creativity and knowledge will be limited are the limitation in scientific journal. And scientific journal not only based on give our information, but it can give us information. Scientific journal that doesn't have any limited access are also cost friendly. With a stable internet access, you can see thousands of journal without having to buy one physical book from the store. Then realizing that the book is not as complete as you would like to be for scientific journal that have limited access is almost the same case. And if journal can be access to it will make missed opportunities are a real cost. If scientific journal is locked and they give price barriers, the researchers will miss the opportunities to give the best research. I give example in here from the website, and we use basic general data in here. The access to the research say a prominent research in India has said if scientific journal are unable to access, it will make them hard to get information and how to make India be best country if the researchers still can be accessed. That a lot of struggle come along with the limited access. And the University of California back in February of 2019 decided it doesn't want a scientific knowledge locked behind play walls and think that the cost of academic publish has gotten off our control. If we lock our journal and not post to the public, it seems like they are play monopolies to public. Journal should be able to everyone without get a profit from it. So when it can be able to everyone, public can more easy to get a new knowledge, and it makes better creativity too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the speech from the government whip. And now let's hear the opposition whip. The time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the time, ladies and gentlemen. Speaker from affirmative team said there is limitation of journal, and even if the back of book didn't describe the book, the affirmative teams didn't reply our arguments and always talking about limitation without even seeing that we still can looking for information in any platform. But in fact, there is a lot of plagiarism, like our first speaker said, that in Indonesia, we have a law for people awareness to plagiarism, such as 1945 Constitution article and 28F, and on Article 4 on law number 28 28th of 2014 mentioned that, which confirms that everyone have the right to communicate and obtain information to develop their personal and social environment, and has the right to seek, obtain, process, store, process, and convey information using all available channels. And as our second speaker explanation, some journals must contain confidential information like personal data information that shouldn't be disseminated and didn't mean to be seen in public. So in the end, we from opposite team absolutely disagree with the motion scientific journal page that are not accessibility to the general public wouldn't limit the spread of knowledge and creative, because all people can looking from the internet or another platform for creativity, not just scientific journals. From this conclusion, we are sure that and believe that this motion should
Hello. Okay, is the opposition whip already done or still want to proceed? Okay. Okay, so the opposition whip has Dania. Are you still speaking or?
no.
Okay, so the opposition whip is already done with the speech, and now let's see the reply speech from the opposition first, and the time given is 4 minutes and 20 seconds. The time is yours.
Sorry. Should I reply or?
Anyone from your team can do the reply speech.
Oh, sorry. When the third speaker, should I reply my argument or no?
What? Sorry.
As a third speaker, should
Yes.
I reply my argument because they said it their connection.
Oh, okay. You may proceed again with your argument. Sorry.
Okay. So in the end of the argument, we from the opposite team absolutely disagree with the motion scientific journal page. There are not accessibility to the general public will limit the spread of knowledge and creativity, because all people can looking from the internet or another platform for creativity, not just scientific journals. From this conclusion, we are sure and believe this motion should stand until end. Thank you.
Okay, thank you from the third speaker of the opposing team. And now the opposing team can say their reply speech first. The time is 4 minutes and 20 seconds, starting from now.
Okay. As a reply speaker, based on our argument that described that we disagree of if scientific journal page there that are not accessible to the general public would limit the spread of knowledge and creativity, we can conclude that the base of our point of view, scientific journals is something that crucial, which protect by a law. Many information we can get from the another place. The reason that we give not only the arguments, but also a solution. We pay attention not for only for today, but also the future of Indonesia. That's why our team is stronger than the pro team, and this motion should stand. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And now it's time for the government reply speaker to say about their opinions. And the time is 4 minutes and 20 seconds. The time is yours.
Okay, so in conclusion, as the government, we think that although we can still find from other books or other place, a scientific journal could help a lot because of the credible and trusted facts. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for both team for the opinions that has been stated from Hemfokum and Himta, and the audience can give applause for them. They have done a very good job today. And now I will let the adjudicator, Mr. Sandro, to say his comments about today's debate. The time is yours.
Well, thank you, moderator, for the time, and thank you for the performance all the participants today in the preliminary round. The first thing is I would like to give a short evaluation about your performance. Our motion today is scientific journal pages that are not accessible to the general public will limit the spread of knowledge and creativity. Well, based on your performance, from the government side, the first speaker already defined the motion with a right definition, and you also give some example about the definition, what is the scientific journal itself. The second one, the first speaker of government also told us about the wise word from Einstein, which is sounds good, and you already gave us the example about the limited of scientific journal in India and also in University of California. I think it's enough for the first speaker of the government, and the first speaker of the opposition team. Also, you already gave, a good rebuttal for the first speaker of the government, which is the first speaker of government also always gave us example that case that the activity itself happened in India and California, but how about Indonesia? You give the strong rebuttal about that in Indonesia. There are still, the copyright, the plagiarism awareness is still low. There are so many people then, and there are so many cases talk about it. And you also gave a strong rebuttal about the first speaker of government about not only from scientific journal that everyone can get creativity or can get knowledge. You also told us about there are so many from bookstores or public that can access by public. And we are moving to the second government. I think the second government has the same opinion like the first speaker of the government. You also strengthening your teammate opinion, like you said that it is not enough if we only read the synopsis from the book, because some book have not complete information in one book, so it will raise the cost of everyone if they want to get knowledge. And also, you also told us about the scientific journals is highly credible, and it can provide uh, us knowledge and also support our creativity. But I think you missed the point that you didn't have any good rebuttal to the first speaker of opposition about there are so many platforms that can support people to be creative or to get more information. I think you missed that point, and we are going to the second speaker of the opposition. Like the other speakers, you also strengthening your team opinions that you also said people can get information and knowledge from book, and book is one of the valid information, and I mean book provide valid information. And besides, you also told us about people can get information from teacher or any platforms. There are so many platforms, and of course internet to support the creativity of people. And you also strengthening the first speaker of your team that there are so many cases that happen in Indonesia that about copyright awareness still low, and it will it will make there are so many, I mean, criminal things if we do this copyright awareness still low in Indonesia. And we are moving to the third speaker of government. You also strengthening the team of yours about if everyone have to buy a book, it will raise their cost, and it is not efficient because scientific journal can I mean it will lower the cost of everyone to get the information itself. And you just saying that people will become more easy to get knowledge from the scientific journal, but you don't have a strong rebuttal about, like I said, the opposition team also told us about there are so many platforms or so many tools that we can get information to support the creativity from the other people or from any platform. You missed that point. Now we are moving to the third opposition. The third speaker of opposition at yes, you also that make sure that the government team didn't reply about your team opinion about any platform itself. And also the second one is about plagiarism in Indonesia. They didn't have a strong rebuttal about it. And you also strengthening your team that still there are many platforms to get information to support the creativity of someone and to elaborate their knowledge, not only scientific journal. And as a reply speaker, you have the conclusion that your team still disagree about this motion that scientific journal pages is not the only thing to limit to spread the knowledge and creativity, and you already proved that from the first, second, and the third speaker of yours. And the reply speaker of the government still do believe that scientific journal pages that are not accessible to the general public will limit the spread of knowledge and creativity. And because your team have a conclusion, scientific journal is highly credibility, and it will lower the cost of everyone. I think that's all about this session. Thank you for the time and good luck.
Okay, thank you, educator Mr. Sandro, for the comments. And also, I want to say congratulations to both team because both team did very good today. And with that, the competition for today is over. I would like to say thank you to all the players who have expressed their views, both affirmative or the opposition. as well as to our great chief adjudicator again. The two winners out of the 4 contingents will be informed in a short while. And for now, let us close the preliminary match. Keep your spirits up, players, and see you tomorrow for the semi-final match. I hope for the best for all of you. Thank you.
We can leave or what?
Yes, you can leave.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you.
Thank you.